From the Detroit Free Press, I'm Robin Chan with today's Voice Briefing. It's Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025.
This is Nusrat Rahman with the Detroit Free Press. Tenants of the historic Leland House in downtown Detroit are facing a possible power shutoff and relocation. Residents of the building received notice a day after Thanksgiving that the storied building would be shutting down in less than a week, leaving them frustrated and confused. In a statement, a representative for the Leland House's owner said the building is part of a Chapter 11 bankruptcy case and owes $43,000 to DTE Energy by Wednesday, or power will be shut off. The owner requested a 1-week extension but was denied, according to the representative. The owner has obtained financing but is concerned the funds for DTE won't be available by Wednesday, the representative said. As a result, tenants were notified that without a last-minute fix, they would need to find new housing. To read the full story and to follow along with updates, go to freep.com.
This is J.C. Randall with the Detroit Free Press. There is a new, ambitious plan to redevelop the former Packard plant site in Detroit. Mayor Mike Duggan joined with the would-be developers on Monday and said they envision building on 28 acres of the 40-acre site. The project calls for a nearly 400,000 square foot manufacturing building, plus 48 units of housing, an indoor skate park, and a techno music museum. The project could break ground as soon as 2027 and be done in 2029. All but 2 small buildings on the Packard plant site were recently demolished. One of them would be reused as part of this plan. The site's previous owner, Fernando Palazuelo, lost the property 3 years ago in a court judgment to a nuisance abatement lawsuit.
Hey there, everybody. This is Omari Sanko for the second Pistons beat writer for the Detroit Free Press. On this week's episode of our podcast, The Pistons Post, Bryce Simon and I break down the Pistons' expanded rotation and what went wrong in their 2 losses. Here's a quick snippet of our conversation.
If all 12 were healthy and active, I would not play Javonte Green or Paul Reed. I would play the other 10 guys in a rotation. I think you have to be a little bit creative because that could be small with all of Jenkins, Ivy, LeVert, and Holland off the bench.
I think the 10-man rotation against Miami felt more fluid. I think when you have multiple guys who are playing, 5 to 7 minutes, it can just get a bit awkward to, maintain continuity, between lineups and line shifts and whatever it may be. And, as far as your takeaway, like who are those 2 guys who get flexed out? I think my process of elimination, it's, you can't have all of Ivy, Green, and Jenkins, right? I think that Jenkins, the way he's played, especially last night, this team just needs that, second point guard type who can, make plays, knock down timely shots, like move the ball. And he's not bad defensively either. I think that's just tough to flex out of this group based on what they've struggled with, which I think is half-court creation when they're not getting those fast break points. And we'll come back to that when we, I know we have some questions about Ron and Asar as well. But I think you have to play Dennis. Can you play 3 bigs every night? Probably not. And you can mitigate that by playing Beef Stew at the 4 a little bit. But then obviously that takes minutes away from Ron and Asar. That's bias. And the way Tobias is, played offensively these last few games, is shooting. I just don't think you could do that. You can hear that full conversation in this week's episode of The Pistons Post, which is available wherever you listen to podcasts. And as always, you can find our latest coverage on freep.com/sports.
Find more from the Detroit Free Press on freep.com. That's FREEP.com. Thank you for listening, and you'll hear more from us tomorrow.